Hi everyone, I'm Brian Yule, the Master Superintendent of Uplands Golf Club. With one of the record hot, dry seasons that we've had in my 43 years here at Uplands Golf Club, I thought it'd be a great time to actually talk about how the irrigation system works. In 2003, we decided to install a new irrigation system. Before that, we used to use a quick coupler irrigation system where employees would go around, plug a sprinkler head in the ground, and it would take about an hour for them to travel around the golf course. Needless to say, it wasn't very efficient, and we used about 38 million gallons a year. Now, with a new irrigation system, we've saved the equivalent of enough water to fill up 11 Olympic-sized swimming pools with that type of water volume. So I thought we would just go through the irrigation system, how it actually works. It's something that we actually decided to choose to install in-house over a 3-year period, over 20 years ago, just because we were able to do it in the off season, not close down the golf course, and most importantly, save the money. When we installed this in 2003 to 2006, we spent $840,000 to install 1,049 heads. There's two systems being installed in the Greater Victoria area at the same time. Those costs of both of those systems were 1.9 million to 2.2 million dollars. So we've definitely saved some money, but more importantly was the quality control by doing it in-house. In the 22 years that we've had the system in ground, we haven't had any pipe failures or wire failures. So I thought I'd walk you through some of the basics on how the irrigation system works, and starting with the pump station. So come on in and I'll just show you what we've got going here. We're fortunate enough that we can get city water, which comes in an 8-inch water line in here. It comes in about 30 psi. So it's too low a pressure in order to irrigate the golf course. So we use this pump station that you see that right in front of you here. Some golf courses, they draw water out of ponds and require larger pumps to pressurize the water. In this case, we're just adding a little bit of extra energy to it. So what we have here is a pump station pad. We have what's called a VFD, a variable frequency drive. This is really the brains of the operation, how the irrigation system runs. It controls the speed of the pumps, and it controls the efficiency of electricity as well. So quite an economical way to run these big pumps. So basically what we have when we start to consume water is we would pressurize this at about 90 psi. And the first pump we have here is a little tiny jockey pump here. It's a 5 horsepower pump. This would be the first pump that would kick on for things like drinking fountains and maybe 1 to 2 heads. But as we start to get into our main water source or water consumption at night with our programming, the first main pump would kick on. So this is pump number 1. And this guy will kick on up to about 350 gallons a minute. And then once we start to water the whole irrigation program, the second pump will kick on as well, and now we're up at about 750 gallons a minute. One of the beauties of this type of pump system is this variable frequency drive. It doesn't just automatically pressurize a 90 psi all at once. So much like a car, how you have the gas pedal and you slowly increase the speed, the variable frequency drive slowly increases the speed of the pumps. So we don't have water hammer banging pipe or thrusting water through the system and banging off elbows and causing cracks and fractures. So this type of technology has been around for 25, 30 years, and it's been a big improvement how we water the system. Come on into the office and we'll talk about how this water runs. The second part of the irrigation system operation is the computer system or the program. So we have water going into our pump station, but now it needs to be controlled to more than 1,000 heads on the golf course. In this particular case, we use a Rainbird system or Rainbird Nimbus 2 as a software program. And one of the successes of this software is it has a program or component called Flow Manager. It basically controls water flow to over 14 miles of different size pipes throughout the golf course. We don't want to be trying to water 1,000 gallons a minute out on the fourth hole when only the pipe network allows for 140 gallons a minute. So we enter all this information in on the various pipe sizes or the 14 miles of pipe throughout the golf course. And then we associate sprinkler heads to the different pipe networks. And from there, the computer system will look to where it can efficiently move water throughout the golf course. The goal is with flow managers to move water 5 feet per second throughout the golf course. Anything faster, you start to get water hammer. So it controls the flow of the water throughout the whole golf course. But the next part, and most importantly, is that we have a wide variety of programs that we run the golf course with. So we have greens, tees, fairways, rough, flower beds, a wide variety of programs. And when you look at the program printout that you have in front of you, you can go inside the programs and have different schedules. And in these schedules is you have the actual area. For example, the schedule for hole number 1, green number 1, you'll see that there is 5 different heads on that little schedule. And there we can actually make the individual control of each head. So we have individual head control throughout the golf course, which is a huge water savings. One of the reasons why we've been able to save the 11 Olympic-size swimming pools full of water by having individual head control, but also directional head control on tree lines or to water greens only or perimeters only. So staff will come in and they will program the system to operate, and then once they go through the whole night, they will have a printout of all 1,049 or 1,044 heads, and these printouts will show you what actually ran. So the staff will take these sheets out, and then they'll look for wet spots and dry spots, making changes. But once the system is dialed in, then we just basically use a water budget feature where we can just adjust the whole system either up. It's currently at 80% right now, so we can move the water budget feature up to 100% if we want to, if it gets hot, and then conversely, we can also turn the water budget feature down when it gets cool. So the next step after we have the system run is we actually go out on the golf course, we have boots on the ground, and then we will look to see what actually happened on the golf course and make some changes. So now that we've talked about how the water comes into the pump station to the computer running the irrigation system, now we're out on the golf course with the hardware. When we installed the irrigation system, as I mentioned, we have over 1,000 heads and 14 miles of pipe and 80 miles of wire. Each fairway has a valve box on the side. That valve box plays a critical role. Inside that valve box, there's a decoder that's like an electronic switch that has the ability to turn on each head individually. And secondly, when we need to do repairs, we're able to isolate 12 heads at a time. As the diagram shows, the water comes out to the center of the fairway, and then 3 lines feeds 4 heads each, so approximately 12 heads per block. So now we have the ability to isolate such a small section compared to shutting off half the golf course and draining the pipe from half the golf course, far more efficient in the repairs. So when we run the system, as mentioned, we have a printout of all the more than 1,000 heads that have ran on the golf course. And staff will go out and check for wet spots and dry spots. We do that by using a TDR soil moisture that we plug into the ground, and we hit read. And in this case, we're in a bit of a dry section here. So this is where we come in and we want to use the radial water in order to water these dry spots. So we have a tendency to try and underwater the golf course at night and then come out in the morning and then just top off with the radial. So in this case, we have approximately 11% of soil moisture, and we need to add a little bit of water, so I'll turn on this head behind us. So we can come in and we can top off any of these dry spots. One of the biggest changes that we made here is this short range nozzle. The original short range nozzle that came with the Rainbird system, they're prone to plugging. So we put in these aftermarket short range nozzles that don't plug anymore, and now we're getting better water coverage and better distribution uniformity. So these are some of the changes that we can make or have made in order to provide a healthier golf course and better playing conditions for everyone. Happy golfing, everyone.